Hello everyone, and welcome back to this video series of the tarot decks that I am using for Halloween, for Samhain, and really just in general this time of year rather. I made a very long video last time, so likely this one will also be pretty long. So just grab yourself a drink or a snack, and I hope that you can kind of vibe with me as we really just hone into the seasonal energies of autumn or fall or Samhain, whichever way you want to look at it, the autumn equinox, and as we get closer to the winter. So this is the second video, and I have some oracle and mostly tarot decks to show. There's actually so many more that I would like to explain and talk about, but what I think I'm going to do is make another kind of video series talking about books and movies that I pair with my tarot decks for this time of year. So I do this on my Instagram. I showed a few of the pairings that I've already done, and I really just enjoy pairing and having these themes and imagery kind of overlap so that when I do my readings I can connect it with themes that I'm exploring in a book or a movie. Okay, so I hope that you're enjoying these videos, because I'm enjoying making them, and I feel like it's a different way to connect and to really talk and have more of almost a conversation, and I hope that you'll join me in the discussion box to talk about these things as well. Okay, so when I think about Samhain and Halloween, I think a lot about my witchcraft practice and just my magical practice. As I work with energy so much, there's a lot of overlap in the types of things that I do, and how energy is moving. So I like to choose oracle decks that really bring out this imagery of the kind of season of the witch energy. And the Oracle of the Witch is one that does that very well. It's specific to me for my magical practice, because it really can bring through such powerful messages about the way that you're working with energy. And this is the inside of the box with all of the symbols, which is really interesting. So this deck it's very brightly colored, it has a very powerful presence. It's also just very aesthetically pleasing. This black and red color scheme is one that I find myself being drawn to in my work, and also just in general. But these cards are they tap you in not only to the witchcraft itself, as we see with Aradia here, as a icon of witchcraft, as a figure of witchcraft, but there's also such an energetic quality to these cards, and you can see, with the figure there is this movement of the rays behind her. There is this kind of movement going on here on her gown, and then there's these symbols, the sigils that are in the corners, and in the symbols in her hands. So there's just a lot of movement and kind of this, powerful radiating effect that this gives. And I really find that to be very helpful when I am in a stuck kind of place with my work, my practice, to go to these oracle cards for that motivation, for that feeling of possibility to change, and to embody a certain energy of witch sisters that have gone before, the power of the legends or myth or history that are embodied in these cards. So we also have Diana, another very strong figure in witchcraft lore and history, and being the huntress and the goddess of the moon. So just, and this one says wisdom. I don't think I read the other one, but it was magic. So there's just so much to be gained and gleaned from these cards in the way that they're done, whether it is the way that they are holding themselves in their posture, or the images of the leaves bringing about that kind of wildwood feeling. The artist has just done a really nice job with keeping some consistency with the color scheme and the borders, but then doing such beautiful work with the images themselves, and having the images kind of bring that essence forward. And then there's more simplistic images, like this one, with the moon phases, and this one is called Moon Magic. But it really just brings your attention to what are you not using to your fullest potential with your practice? Is there, something else you can bring out in your magical study or practice that can assist you in what you are going through right now? And I love the black and white. Let's see, we'll not use that one because of YouTube's nudity rules. So we have Crone. This is a gorgeous image, and we love to see a crone in her power. But I love these because they are not looking only at the love and light aspects of witchcraft, but also really getting in there to the shadow work. And this is the darker half of the year. This is when we are naturally drawn to darker imagery and themes, so that we can think about, and the crone was death, by the way, but think about kind of what is changing, what is ending, what do we need to change or end in our lives, and how that can actually empower us as magical beings, as just any person moving through this world. And there are some masculine images. This one is crafter and creativity. So it does have the kind of divine masculine, divine feminine qualities, but also with, again, with this darker imagery, to really stretch our view of kind of where we are in our spiritual journey, and the things that we need to really work on during this this time of liminal space of reflection and empowerment. So I love this deck for all of those reasons. And again, it's beautiful, and that helps so that it's in more rotation, and there's just a lot that you can do with it symbolically that I appreciate. You know, if you choose a card, it's so easy to kind of journal endlessly about the different symbolism and what it's bringing up in us. Okay. And that is the Oracle of the Witch. Okay, now we have, this is one of my absolute favorite decks of all time. And I was always very drawn to this deck. From the moment I saw the box, I knew I had to purchase it. It's the Murder of Crows Tarot. Now, a murder, of course, is just a group of crows, but there is wordplay on that naturally. Now, I did not discover this deck when it was in Kickstarter, unfortunately, because there was a beautiful edition of this with kind of these blood splatters on the cards, and I know that may not sound appealing to some, but there were blood splatters on the cards in the imagery that isn't there now, and my edges are colored red here. I used a marker to just edge my cards red on the side, so that's not inherent to these decks. But this deck, as you know, I have a very strong attachment and connection to Corvid energy, and especially crows, actually, and I feel that they are a guide spiritually for me, as well as a way for me to access my abilities magically. So this deck is not for the faint of heart, I should say up front. So if you are someone that is easily kind of afraid or scared of certain images and dislike, images that are a bit violent or gory or shadowy, you may not want to watch this particular deck being shown. But this deck has a lot of very powerful messages, and I mean, all tarot has the ability to have powerful messages, and imagery works differently with us all. However, this deck really gets in there and shows you everything, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's a lot of information that is being thrust upon you, but I find the energy of this deck to be kind of something that shakes you into clarity and truthfulness in a way that you need for it to. So, in other words, it's something that you need to see at the time, and it is a little harsh, but when I use it, I find it to be very almost dreamlike as well. So it's more like having a dream that's revealing truth, even if the dream is more like a nightmare, where there is some disturbing kind of images that are being revealed in the dream. But, like this card is such a beautiful representation of the Chariot. It's not frightening or gory. It's just really quiet yet powerful still in its messaging. But the black and white doesn't work for everyone, because some people need the color associations in order to provide or gain the messages that they're looking for spiritually. But I find with the black and white, again, it lends something to this dream world and the mistiness of the cards. It's very, I would say it's very scorpionic with a very strong Pisces kind of undertone, Neptunian undertone with the mist and the fog that's that's so filled in these cards. I love that quality especially. Perhaps it's because my moon is in Pisces, but I just adore the foggy quality. It makes you really feel that you are kind of a lost wanderer going through this land of mist and shadow, this uncertain realm where you don't know who is on the other side of this mist, but they appear as these either crows or monsters or, very strange figures. And for me, when I initially saw this, I didn't feel fear. I didn't feel a lot of discomfort. And I feel that that's just because of the way that I see the world at times. I've always been more comfortable in the shadowy imagery and spaces, and I feel that there's just a lot more truth there than there is sometimes in the light, because it's when we really quiet ourselves and go into those shadowy places that we can really see ourselves clearly and understand ourselves fully, and not try to say that everything is okay, that everything is going just fine. It's more of acknowledging that things are not always fine, that there's a lot of problems in the world and also within us that we need to integrate and heal from. So this deck helps me when I am feeling like I don't know which way is up, when I need some kind of, it may seem kind of strange, but this deck is very comforting to me as well. So there is a comforting aspect to this world of the Murder of Crows Tarot. See, this queen, or I'm sorry, the Empress here, is just absolutely beautiful in my opinion. I love this card. It is very feminine, as the Empress is. However, there is that very lovely, gothic, regal quality that the artist captures here. So where you don't exactly know how she is going to respond to you at first. You have to kind of listen, and get to know these cards in order to fully understand the voices of the different major arcana and courts. But this deck, if you like that kind of dark aesthetic, this is definitely something that you may be interested in. But even if you're not, I challenge you to just maybe watch a few walkthroughs to see if you can connect with it, because it does have those hard, difficult, sad, and disturbing images, but they really do something for you emotionally to help you process your emotions or to make sense of what is going on in your life and really find guidance through your emotions to understand yourself, if that makes sense. So I love this. I love this deck. It is one of the ones that I turn to when I'm in the most distress, and I use it more during the darker half of the year, just for that reason, but also because there is this kind of reflection of the season in the artwork itself. Alright, next we have the Bohemian Gothic Tarot, and I do not use this deck nearly enough. I'm including it in this video also because it is just so beautiful and I love it so much, and I don't use it enough. This is the only Bohemian Gothic Tarot that I own, although there are many beautiful decks made by these creators. This particular one has a foiling on it. I believe it's called, I'm going to forget the name of it now, but it's a particular foiling technique where you can see it's silvery and a little watery in its effects, and sometimes it makes the cards a little unclear when you look at it a certain angle. But these cards are they're works of art. I mean, I would hang these on my wall as a decor piece. It is also just my aesthetic. I love this kind of Victorian Gothic aesthetic. But beyond that and into, you know, the magic that this particular deck has, it is just it has a very haunting energy. It really puts you into a world that is not like the one that you are in. The expressions on the people in this deck, and even, you know, the statues and the landscape, all kind of working together with that, are very unique. It has a very contemplative style. This one is supposed to be the Headless Horseman, I would imagine. But it has a very haunting style and uses the landscape around it. I mean, you could easily see this being the deck that would be used in Nosferatu, for example, if there was one. Because it has these really classic kind of figures in beautiful settings that you could imagine being castles or manors, and it has that kind of vampiric imagery, like here. I mean, that almost could be Nosferatu there. But the figures here are actually what make this deck unique, special, and powerful, because it's their expressions and their posture, and also their clothing. The clothing in this deck is absolutely out of this world with the way that they capture the folds and the colors. But it's really the faces and the expressions that this deck contains that make it what it is, and really allows you to kind of put yourself into this world and really get answers that are a bit eerie. Now this one reminds me of Ophelia. Yeah. This one it reminds me of Ophelia because of the way that she is laid out here. But look at the gorgeous color in this card, the reflection and the landscape and the water. I mean, absolutely stunning. Stunning. And it does, the classic stories that are depicted in the cards also, of course, help. I mean, this one, in a way, you could think of as Excalibur, which the Ace of Swords is meant to be a representation of Excalibur in the tarot. But the imagery here is very classic for a reason, to bring your mind to these different stories and times. So it really takes us out of our modern day world, but doesn't lose the connection with legend, humanity, and architecture that are depicted here. So, as I said, I don't use this nearly enough. It's one that I really should use. It's very inspiring, and it's very haunted in the way that it reads, but it gives you very deep messages if you are asking questions about people, such as, you know, family members, or I think it would be a great one for family work, for, any kind of ancestral readings or family readings, or even, readings about friendship or anything like that. But it's, you can see the story just unfolding through the expressions of the characters and their mannerisms towards one another. So, beautiful, beautiful deck. Lots of character. Now, I will say that the guidebook for this was completely left field when I looked at it. I wasn't expecting kind of the humorous meanings that some of the cards actually have. You may not expect it, when you look at a deck like this, but the guidebook really adds lots of nuance to this deck. Okay, so the Tarot of Vampires. This is a complex deck. This is not an easy read for the beginner. I love this deck so much. It is one of my top 3. And I use this one more than I use my other favorite decks. So, it's actually out of the box at the moment. It's here. And this one is, at the moment, is out of print, but I hear that it kind of does that and comes back again. So if this is one that you are wanting, I would just keep your eyes peeled for when it is re-released, as it is likely to be. So this deck comes with a book that is phenomenal. It teaches you so much about tarot, and not only just the meaning of the images on the cards, but about tarot itself. And I've read it many, many times, and if you're feeling blocked in terms of your tarot reading, it's a great book to pick up and just start reading, where, whether it's about a card or about kind of just reading tarot itself, because it goes into a lot of things here. It goes into exercises that you can do. It goes into the Sephiroth on the Tree of Life. Really just beautiful, thorough, deep kind of read. And this comes with the deck. Now, this deck, when I first got it, I did realize that I loved the imagery. I love vampires. I feel very connected to vampire imagery, and as a true child of the 90s, I saw these images and fell in love with them. I thought that they really encapsulated my personality in many ways. And I just wanted to know the stories of these beautiful figures and their meaning in the tarot. But when I first began working with it, I struggled a little bit to connect with it, and I'm not really sure exactly what that was when I first got it. I feel it may have more to do with the time of life that I was in, and less to do with the deck itself. I just wasn't ready for these messages at the time or the imagery, even though I appreciated the beauty and the interesting imagery that it gave. There were some cards, like this was probably one of them, that I just wasn't sure about. Also, I was just kind of working with my spirituality to heal a lot of things from my past, and there's just a lot going on. But over time, this became such a intuitive reader for me, where I just pick up the cards and I know exactly what they're trying to say. And it's very seamless and easy to read at this point. And not because, again, of the complexity, although there is a lot of complexity and nuance to these cards, there was just something else kind of blocking me at the time. But In any case, over the years, it became a very valuable tool for me. And I find that it actually is very hopeful and positive. The depth and layers that it provides, as well as the perspective of, you know, the vampires, but also the perspective of the other people and vampires in the cards. Even the creatures here, because if you read the guidebook, you'll see the connection between the creatures and the vampires. So down to the suits, the colors, the imagery choices, everything has meaning in this deck. And it also goes into astrological correspondences in every card. So if you look closely in this card, you'll see on her arm, let's see if I can get a clear picture here. You'll see on her arm that there is a moon, and then let's see, where's the other image? Oh, it's on the blade, the Aquarius symbol. So it's moon in Aquarius for Seven of Swords, and again, that just adds in such a level of depth and nuance and layers that you can explore. And they're hidden on the cards, which I find so interesting, that you can just, you can see a card several times and not know where the glyph is immediately. So, beautiful deck for studying, for working deeper with the Tree of Life, with the with astrology, with numerology, with the tarot symbolism itself, and of course the vampire symbolism, which, look at this High Priestess. She is absolute perfection. I just love, I love the artwork and the figures on these cards, likely again because of just when it was made and growing up in the 90s, because it looks like a vampire movie that would have played on TV in the 90s. In any case, there's so much beauty and connection with this deck that it's worth picking up just for those elements of the deeper study that you can have with it. So though there are many other decks that I work with during this time of year, these are the ones that I really work with the most during Halloween and Samhain, and that also give me the most deep, insightful, powerful readings. And I really just wanted to show the ones that I use most often and that really are giving life to my tarot work, because as I mentioned, I read for clients every single day. I have a lot of readings that I do, so it's not, I can't use the same deck over and over again. So I hope that you enjoyed these videos. Next I'm going to make a video about what I'm reading, and that's probably the one that I will pair with the tarot decks and perhaps movies, but we'll see how that goes. Let me know if you would be interested in that kind of video about pairing, you know, the tarot with the books and other things. I do that anyway, so I think that it would be something different and unique and fun. Let me know if you use any of these decks, if you have any of these or are interested, or which ones really, you know, stood out to you from the video. And if you have watched all the way to the end, please drop me a leaf emoji, I guess from this candle, a leaf emoji, and I will see all of you very, very soon. And thank you for being here and listening to me just ramble on about tarot. It is a passion, a lifelong study, and one that isn't likely to go away anytime soon. So thank you all, and I will see you in the next video.